Hello again, everyone. It's your Portly Paladin back again for another update. I didn't miss a week. Can you believe it? Hopefully, we can keep this one up. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right on into it and talk about what I've been doing since last week. Well, I gained a pound since last week. That's kind of what happened. It's unfortunate that I gained a pound, but those things happen. It happens from time to time. There's different reasons for it. I think I have several reasons that sort of contributed to me gaining instead of losing. I think number one on the list is the food. Now, I haven't been eating badly. I've been eating good, doing well and making sure that I get my points on the Weight Watchers plan and things like that. But the one thing I have not been doing is really watching my sodium. I actually had quite a few salty foods in the last week. I think that kind of contributed to things a lot, helping me to retain water. And speaking of water, I haven't been drinking water quite as well as I should. I know, you're supposed to be drinking around 64 ounces of water a day. In the last week, I think I've averaged maybe 8 to 12. Um, Water has got to be one of the hardest things for me to maintain. I go in spurts. There are times where I'll go weeks and weeks where I hit my 64 ounces and then some every single day. No wavering, and I'm fine with it. And then I go little smaller periods where I don't want to see water. I don't want to taste water. I don't want to drink it. I just want to drink my iced tea. That's my big thing that I drink right now. So, I don't know. I think that's part of it. And then the last thing is I didn't really get much activity this week. Didn't do much walking or anything like that. I did a lot of sitting around the house. I wasn't feeling well at first. I didn't sleep well. I'm pretty highly anemic, and I don't know if any of you know, but a lot of times when you're anemic, it does sometimes affect your sleep, unless you have your iron. Well, I've been pretty good with iron. I just got a new iron pill that I've been taking and sort of changed things around a little bit, and I think that kind of affected my sleep. So that sort of affected the kind of energy I had and things. So a couple of different things I think contributed to that 1 pound gain, but I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. I've had worse days than this, so I'm just going to come back next week and just bring back the negative pounds. The pounds lost rather than pounds gained. But it's all right. All right, so let's move on to the next subject. The next subject I want to talk about is something that my wife found on Pinterest that we just started doing, and that is these here, these jars or containers. As you can see, this one says pounds to lose, and it has quite a few of these little glass blob gem doodads in here. And this one over here says pounds lost. Now, the way we're handling this basically is we took where I currently, where I started, and then how much pounds I wanted to lose to get to my ultimate goal weight. And we put that many tokens in the pounds to lose jar. And then I went back and looked at where I started and where I am now, and took that many little tokens out of here and put them into the pounds lost jar. Now, one thing that I'm doing is every single time I weigh myself, I hopefully take the things out of the pounds to lose jar and put them into the pounds lost jar. Well, in the case of today, I got to take one out of the pounds lost jar and put it in the pounds to lose jar. That's a good visual representation of where we are in terms of our goals and the way we're going to be losing weight. So I recommend it. It's a fun little way. We got a very large bag of these little mixed token thingies, little glass bobs, whatever you want to call them, at the local craft store for I think it was like $5 or $6. These containers actually we got at the dollar store for $1 a piece. So for $10 we had these little representations of where our weight is going up or down or wherever. So it's really nice. It's kind of nice to see that I have so many little items in this jar as a good visual representation of where I've gone. So I kind of recommend that. It's fun. It's by no means necessary, but it's interesting. It's fun. Just try it out if it's something that's maybe right up your alley. I don't know. Alright, so, moving on. Next thing I want to talk about a little bit here is, I remember I mentioned I was going to start talking about recipes again, and mentioning those. Well, this one isn't really a recipe so much as it is a technique. Um, Sonia, my wife, and I, we've been lately cutting carbs out as much as we can in dinner. Not throughout the day, just for dinner. I mean, carbs are necessary uh, for your dietary needs. It's a very good way to stay full and to get your energy is with carbs. So we're not cutting them out entirely, but it is something that I'm looking at doing. Cutting down on. And right now we're mainly trying to do that at dinner, since dinner should be a lighter meal anyway. It's the last meal of the day. You're less likely to be active after having eaten dinner, so your metabolism is going to start slowing down. So eating most of your calories at dinner is not really the best thing in the world to do. Um, so we're trying to cut the carbs there first. We have not been eating any sort of potatoes, pastas, rices, things like that. Anything with large amounts of starch or carbs. Even beans kind of is sort of a no-no. So what I was realizing is we used to eat a lot of noodles as part of a dinner. Buttered noodles, or I would make like some Parmesan noodles, where I just cook some egg noodles and then throw a little bit of olive oil and Parmesan cheese in there and have that as a side dish. Noodles were kind of a staple. We had a lot of noodles, and then rice was huge. Not really huge, but it was up there in our meals. So what I was looking to do is a way to sort of replace those, so I don't really miss them as much as I have been. And what I came across is I came across online a technique to replace those with one of these. This is a zucchini. Um, it's sort of a firm vegetable. It's kind of in the squash family, so it can sort of hold up to a little bit of rough treatment, I guess you could say. What I've been doing is I'll take the top here off and the bottom, and then I take one of these. This is called a mandolin or a V-slicer or something along those lines. They can be under different names. Well, you just take this and you take very carefully. It's good to lay your hand flat like this, and then run that down the slicer so it goes through the blades, and you'll end up with very thin slices of the zucchini. Stack those slices up, take a good sharp knife, go down the slices, and turn it into long, thin strips that kind of resemble noodles. You can do tons of things with those noodles once you're done. The easiest thing to do is just to saute them. Just a tiny bit of olive oil into a pan, saute them a little bit, and then once they're cooked through that way through a saute, you have lots of options. What I did last night is turn them into almost like what I call a skinny lo mein, where I took I had pre-cooked a little bit of chicken. I had pre-stir-fried some peppers and onions. I picked up a broccoli slaw at my local grocery store. It has like the broccoli stems that have been shredded, some shredded carrots, some cabbage. I sort of stir-fried that also, had all that put to the side. Then after I'd sauteed the noodles, I threw everything back into the pan and made up a little sauce out of chicken broth and some soy sauce, crushed garlic, little red pepper flakes, some rice wine vinegar, hoisin sauce, and sesame oil. That's it. And then some cornstarch in there. Just not very much, maybe like a teaspoon or two, just enough to sort of turn it into a thicker sauce once it hits the heat. Stirred that up really well, poured it over top of everything, stirred it all through until it did get a little bit thick, and then we had dinner. So there was a little bit of chicken, maybe 2-3 points worth of chicken a piece, and the rest of it was vegetables with this sauce. So based on that, I would say that last night's dinner was less than 10 points. And considering the fact that I have about 60 points a day to spend, that was a pretty fantastic dinner. So another thing you can do that I'd seen online also that I haven't tried yet, it sounds really good though, is to take the same noodles made out of the zucchini, saute them a little bit in the pan, and then after they're cooked through, take them out, put them in a bowl, add fat-free sour cream. Now, I know what you might think, but honestly, fat-free sour cream is pretty good. The biggest difference between fat-free sour cream and regular sour cream is the thickness. Regular sour cream is really like thick, almost like a mascarpone type cheese consistency, almost that thick, not quite. But the fat-free sour cream is usually fairly thin, kind of runny-ish almost. So it's not really good for maybe putting on top of something as a garnish or whatever, but it's good, definitely really good in this application. You put in some of the fat-free sour cream. I would say for maybe 3 of these, you'd add in about a half a cup of the fat-free sour cream, which is 0 points according to the packaging. And you know, if you run it through the calculator, it also comes out at 0 points. And then you add in a good handful of Parmesan cheese. Good Parmesan cheese. Don't skimp, because if you're going to be doing something like this, and that's where all the flavor's coming from, you don't want to skimp and get like the canister craft stuff. Go ahead and get real Parmesan cheese. Throw that in there. Stir it all through. Little cracked black pepper would be nice to kind of season it up a little bit. You got salt already from the cheese. And then you've got sort of a fake skinny zucchini fettuccine Alfredo. Throw some chicken into that, and you've got yourself a meal. And that's basically a vegetable and a protein, and you know, very few points because you don't actually have the starchy noodle. You can do all kinds of things with these. You can do even like a chicken parmesan, sort of like a skinny chicken parmesan. Take your zucchini noodles, saute them up, add a little bit of marinara to that. Use a chicken breast. I wouldn't bread it personally. I mean, you could, because you're kind of cutting your calories in other places by taking away the regular noodles and replacing with the zucchini. So you could bread it and fry it if you want to. I probably wouldn't. I might bread it and do like an oven baked sort of thing, possibly, but most likely I probably just wouldn't even bother breading it. I would just season up the chicken, grill it most likely, throw that right on top of my zucchini noodles with marinara, and you got sort of a skinny little chicken parmesan. Maybe even throw a little bit of that Parmesan cheese on top. Another thing that I thought of you could do is almost like a lasagna. Slice this thin and put it down and throw that in as the noodles of the lasagna. Stack it all up, and you can have yourself a nice little skinny lasagna. You could really, you could even do any of these things I talked about with eggplant. With the eggplant, what I would probably do is, after cutting it up, slicing it, and then making it into noodles, or slicing it if you're going to do it into like a lasagna, is salt it. Because salting it's going to bring out a lot of the moisture, and it's going to sort of break down the cells of the eggplant. And that'll let you sort of squeeze out a lot of that extra water. Go ahead and rinse everything off so you don't have all the extra salt. And I think you'll get a much better product out of that, and a much better meal out of the eggplant if you do the salting first. With this, there's not so much water in it. It's more of a heartier vegetable. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my recipe for this week. Try it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. I'm going to be having that for lunch myself here in just a few moments. I'm going to go ahead. I have a couple of these left. I'm going to slice them up and turn them into noodles and stir fry them up again. Unfortunately, we don't have any Parmesan cheese, or I'd probably be doing the Alfredo. So I'm just going to go back to the stir fry again. Since I have a few extra points, I might even add in a little bit of peanut butter and turn it into sort of a pad thai sort of flavor. So you have lots of options. Check them out. Keep working. Try out the jar thing. I think you'll like it. So there we are. See you guys next week, and keep fighting a good fight, waging a war against your waistline. This is your Portly Paladin. See you next.